Okay.
Okay.
You got it.
So
Great.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Art Matters New York. Hi. How are you doing, everyone?
good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
We have a special guest today. Toni Robbin is here. Hi, Toni.
Hi, I'm here.
We are glad you came, and we are very excited to hear about your work. Yeah.
Well, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to show you what I've been up to.
You can
So-
proceed. Let's do it.
Okay. My aesthetic goal is to put many spaces in the same space at the same time. And note, I did not say many things in the same space, but many distinct spaces in the same place at the same time. It's personal. I was in Japan right after World War II, and I'll save you the trouble of doing the math. I'm 81 years old. And I stayed there for a few years. I have sense memories of Japan. And then we went to Kansas City, Missouri, as they say. From there, back to Japan, to Okinawa for 4 years. Then I moved to Tehran, and I love Tehran. I climbed the Elborz Mountains with another American boy, and the following year we went by bus and train from Tehran to Tabriz, to the border, to Erzurum, Turkey, and on to Istanbul. That was the summer of 1960. 2 American boys cut loose in the Middle East. It was great. Then I went to prep school, went to Andover, and then to Columbia and to Yale Art School, and then finally just to New York. I was a different person in all these places. I was a good boy. I was a bad boy. I was an athlete, a good student, a preppy, a beatnik, a professor, and finally just an artist. So I'm put in mind of Ishiguro's novel, The Unconsoled, where a small town is built on a 4-dimensional framework. And it's a mistake to think of a person as being in only one place at a time and always going forward in time. So that's the psychological basis of this work. Can we have the first slide, please?
Do you see it?
No, it's not up.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me go back here. Let me do this.
Toni, was your family military or were they government? Oh, never mind.
This is a painting from 1972. I just got back from a long summer trip to Japan with my wife and 2 Japanese American friends, Hiroshi and Nancy Murata. And I love this painting. It's so innocent. I wouldn't say it's exactly juvenilia, but it's I just think of it as innocent. It's 12 feet long. On the right is it's a travelogue of my summer. On the right is the moss garden in Kyoto. There's a celadon color to the water. That's the color of the moss. That's the color of the bank. And next to it are these patterns from the obi cloth. We spent a lot of time in the markets and in the shops looking at obi cloth. And then to the left of that is it's a Shinto shrine. I turned it upside down to make it a little more abstract. And so you have these three spaces. You have a frontal space on the right, in the middle, a low relief space, and then on the left, a perspective space. And I worked like this, worked through all the places I lived and all the all the experiences I had for about 2 years. And I've renamed these paintings as my homage period. Next slide, please. But I always wanted to make it more abstract. So I realized if I had these structures as linear structures and with patterns, I could fold the left side and the right side in, and instead of having these spaces juxtaposed, I could have them superimposed. And so you are on the left looking right, you're on the right looking left, you're up looking down, and underneath looking up. But I was still frustrated because the ground color is solid, and I wanted the ground to have the same multiplicity of readings that the linear structures did. So next slide, please. It's a little faded, but so here the ground is made of Necker reversing cubes or impossible figures. And so in a very short period of time, even though I started late, from 72 to 77, 78, I put together the elements of a style that that has maintained me for the next 50 years. The style, the elements of the style slip and slide and grow and shrink. And there have been serious diversions. I made sculpture, I made light work, I made computer art, I drifted into mathematics itself. But I always return to painting and always return to that style. Next slide, please. Having said all that, I want to be sure I mentioned that I'm a color painter. Color's my only talent. I became a painter because at age 15, my mother took me from Tehran to Europe to see the great paintings, and there I saw Monet's, and I decided that day to be a painter because of the color. And I want my color to have two things. I want it to be lyric, and I want it to be wholesome. Now, these are two contradictory goals. To be lyric, there has to be colors across the color wheel that are basically the same in value. That's how you get the shimmer and the flicker. The paintings where there's a full range of light and dark and a lot of middle tones, we just have the feeling that those are wholesome paintings. So I'm working between those two color goals. Color is the only thing I really respond to in other people's paintings. And
could you kind of define what you mean by wholesome?
No, I don't want to define it further.
Okay. All right.
Next slide, please. So here's another painting. Both of these paintings that I'm saying are my color paintings. They're from the late 70s. And they're often the same linear structures, even in the same order. But the paintings have a different feel, a different color feel to them. And that's what I'm most proud of. Now, Marcia Tucker said about these paintings at the time, and she wrote it in a little brochure. And I looked it up. She said the three-dimensional world Robbin constructs from contradictory visual information suggests the complexity of four-dimensional geometry. Wow, I thought that was great. And it set me on a multi-decade quest, including the study of physics, hanging around the NYU physics department, hiring physicists to give me little courses, going back to school, learning how to program, especially coding four-dimensional figures. Marcia Tucker was a famed curator who really made the Whitney what it is today, and for which she was very badly treated by them. So four-dimensional geometry. I'd like to show you a little bit about the history and how it found its way into the art world. So can we have me back on the screen, please? All right, so in 1844, Hermann Grassmann wrote a book about extensions. And everyone said it's an impossible book. But it was the first time that this kind of consideration was mentioned, and it really started the ball rolling. He said, if you have a line segment like this bar, and you move it up, you just move it up, you inscribe a square. But look what's happened. And you started out with one line, one bar, and you made three other bars. So if you were to take this square and you move it in another direction, perpendicular to this one, perpendicular to this one, just move it in this direction, you're going to make a cube.
Right.
So keep going. Why not take this cube and move it in another direction, perpendicular to this one, perpendicular to this one, and perpendicular to that one? We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't have any idea. He doesn't have any idea. There are no pictures, no drawings in his book, but he can reason what's going to happen. You're going to start out with one cube, and you put another cube on every face. So you started with one, you're going to end up with 7 cubes. And then you're going to need another cube to sort of house the whole thing. And this started the ball rolling. By 1850 and 60, there were papers and drawings and meetings. The art historian Linda Henderson found Washington Irving Stringham's drawings from 1880. I think Stringham did all the 5 Platonic salads. They were tremendously important. I discovered, I dug out of the dustbin of history, Thomas Proctor Hall, and he anticipated by 80 years the behavior of hypercubes and other four-dimensional figures as they would be seen from the third dimension. He made telescoping glass rods and hinges on these glass tubes, so they moved and swerved and slid out, just like we see them now on computers. The American contributors to this were, I think, very strong, including today Thomas Banchoff and George Francis. And I don't think people have really appreciated what this visualization has done for modern physics. It's a whole different world now, thinking about what can happen in 4 dimensions or 6 or 8 dimensions. So can we have the next slide, please? And there'll be slides from now on. Slide number 6. Yes. I hope you can read this. This is a treatise on 4-dimensional geometry by Esprit Jouffret, Jouffret, from 1903. In the introduction to this book, Jouffret says that he's discovered 47 mathematicians from 11 countries who are doing work on 4-dimensional geometry. And that in March of 1900, there's a bibliography of 439 papers. So it's a fully developed geometry before cubism and before relativity theory. I want to tell you how this book got into Picasso's hands.
Right.
In the early years of the 20th century, Picasso met a girl. Her name was Alice Guéry, G-E-R-Y, Alice Guéry. Like him, she was a runaway. Like him, she was an autodidact. Picasso's biographers are coy about their relationship. But let me put it to you this way. They're young, they're good looking, it's Paris, it's the beginning of a new century. What do you think is going to happen? And this is relevant, sort of, because the whole time, Alice is the kept mistress of a mathematician named Maurice Princet, P-R-I-N-C-E-T. And Princet was getting his doctorate at the Sorbonne in applied mathematics. He went to work in government, or some say in an insurance company. But his great passion was 4-dimensional geometry. And he surely had this book, The Geometry of a Treatise on Geometry of 4 Dimensions. And there's so much great gossip about Alice, but I know you don't want to hear the gossip.
Oh, yes, we do.
And so Alice thought it would be great, good fun to bring her old man, the Princet, to the studios of her new friends in Montmartre. And he went to Picasso's studio. He ended up eventually in Duchamp's studio. And everywhere he went, he had these pictures. So that is the link from Alice through Princet to Esprit Jouffret.
Could you respell Alice's last name?
Gery, but the E has an accent.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
we know about a lot of what we know about Alice is from Gertrude Stein.
Okay.
And she said that Alice had this angelic face, but huge hands, workman's hands, she said. And I think that Alice was a one of the acrobats. I have other reasons to believe that. Uh, there's a young girl sitting on a ball
Right. Right.
with her finger raised up, her
Yeah.
huge hand, finger raised up. I think she has a ponytail. I'm really confident that that is a picture of Alice.
Hmm.
So let's go to the next slide, please. This is a composite that I made from my book, The Shadows of Reality. And it's the painting is of David Henry Kahnweiler. The painting's from 1910.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you a little bit about Kahnweiler and about Picasso. Picasso was not the sort of guy who would take his slides to a dealer and say, "Please, sir, would you look at my slides, please?" He didn't do it. Instead, he went to the dealers and he said, "I'm going to paint your portrait, and depending on how it comes out, I'll tell you whether I'm going to show with you or not." He did a portrait of Ambrose Vollard, who was kind of the establishment. He was showing Impressionists. It's a nice portrait. It's in the Pushkin, but it's not really challenging. He did a painting of Urde, made him seem a little wishy-washy. Urde and Sonia, who became Delaunay, had a pretend marriage. They both needed it for financial reasons. But he showed his mettle during the Nazi occupation. And then he did a portrait of Kahnweiler, the unlikely candidate, because he was young, he was German when the Franco-Prussian War was still fresh in people's mind, and he was Jewish. The Dreyfus affair had not fully been dispensed with. But he's the one that Picasso chose. He's the one who takes this deep leap into four-dimensional geometry. So I have his head, which is just a detail. And then around him are some drawings from the Jouffret. The first one on the upper left is what I just showed you about the extensions, the Grassmann extensions. Here the last cube is shown as being inside the cube. And this is misleading. All the cubes are the same size, and it should be behind. If you're going to draw it in perspective, it's behind the central cube, not in the middle of it. People call this the tesseract. I don't know why. The next drawing that explains the hypercube is the one immediately to the right, these 8 cubes, the 8 cubes of the hypercube. The 4 in shade are in the 4th dimension. I guess the others are solely in the 3rd dimension. When I wrote this book, I did a study as to mechanical drawing. I found lots of examples of cutaway drawings in 1900, but I could not find another example of this exploded drawing. I wonder if it was exploded drawings were invented just at this time. Now, below the exploded drawing of the 8 hypercubes, there's the glass box convention of mechanical drawing. If you wanted to do a mechanical drawing of a head, you would take an image, you'd put the head in a glass box. You look at it from the top. I think this came about because of the glass negatives, the daguerreotypes. The image of the head was kind of stuck to the glass from the top. You'd also take a view from the side, from the ear and the profile, and that image would be sticking to the glass. And then one from the front. You see the eyes, both eyes, nose, mouth. And that image is stuck to the glass. Then you cut open the glass box, you lay it down, you have 3 planes and a different picture in each plane, and you imaginatively put it together to be the 3 views of a head. In 4-dimensional geometry, 3 is not enough. You need 6. And the mathematicians have a saying, 4 choose 2 is 6. That means 4 combinations, all the different combinations of four objects. So you have 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4. You have 2 and 3, and then 3 and 4. So those are 6 combinations. I never really worked it out to see if it's if this glass box model of a hypercube makes sense, but I'll take Jouffret's word for it. And then finally, down below, we have an isometric projection drawing of the hypercube and all the other cubes that make up the hypercube, the central cube, and all the ones that are essentially the skin of the final hypercube. So with these drawings in this book, Picasso, it's the missing link. It's what leads to high cubism, the high analytic cubism of 1910 to, I don't know, the next 5 years. What Picasso did with this is interesting. He quickly left this and started what we would think of maybe as his mature work. For 500 years, artists were drawing the outsides, the way the light hits the forehead, making the head round. Picasso wanted to get inside, find a way to get inside and paint the psychological reality of the people. So I want to give you 2 pro tips. If you want to understand 4-dimensional geometry, if you want to see how it's responsible in large part for modern art, never say math or equation. Call it by its name. It's geometry. True, it's 4-dimensional geometry, but it's just geometry. And never say time is the 4th dimension. It's like saying a cube is a house. Well, sure, if you're in Marrakesh, a lot of the houses are cubes, but that's not the same as saying a cube is a house. Every cube is a house. And here's the Zen cone. This is all you need for your liberation. Save yourself 10 years of confusion and frustration. Take it from one who was lived through it. In every one of those houses that are cubes, every one of those cubes that are houses, there are ice cubes. That's it. That's all I got. I want to show you two more paintings before we get back to my work. Yes, this is Masaccio in Florence. I saw it a long time ago. It's an enormous painting on the side and on the nave of a church, and the wall is completely flat. I think you can see there's a kind of altar, or at the bottom. That's real, and I believe that's, as I remember, that's about eye level. So you're looking up at the people who are in attendance, and then you're looking up again to other people who are in attendance. Then you see Jesus Christ crucified with these enormous arms. I mean, they must go down to his ankles. And then you're looking up, far up into this barrel vault. It's a transept, trompe-l'oeil transept in the church. Usually, I think before this, when we saw crucifixions, Christ was in pain. He was dying. He was humiliated. I think that was really the feeling you got: humiliated, abandoned by God the Father, just crumbling small, emphasizing the gift of his death for our salvation. But here, it's almost as though he's flying, and God the Father is there and holding him up, taking him up. So that was 1427. Now, just 20 years later, we can go to the next picture. This is Piero della Francesca's Nativity. And if he's walking on the water, so are you. You are toe-to-toe, eyeball to eyeball to Jesus Christ. In the background, there's somebody else who's going to have get baptized. He takes off his shirt. And maybe you're next in line, just a couple of guys on the same plane being baptized. Now, if you said that from the, I'm going to say pupil, that's not right. If you said it in a church, or you wrote it in an essay, I think even if you said it in a poem, there's serious danger of burning. But if you made it in a picture, well, that was sort of okay, because kind of that's the way people were feeling in Florence. Hey, I'm from Florence. I'm in business. I'm making money. We have our own army. And within certain limits, we can make love to whoever we want, whenever we want, and in what way we want. So we don't need, any deity above us bearing down. We're from Florence. So to be blunt, geometry is not antithetical to the emotional content in art. Geometry is the emotional content in art. Let's look at a couple of my paintings now. So when I said you can have patterns superimposed and interwoven to define different spaces, I was talking about shapes, two-dimensional patterns, but you could have lattices. You could have three-dimensional patterns, maybe each color-coded, each with a different internal structure. And they could be thick, these lattices. They could have many courses. They could be thick and thicker and thicker. They could be really stand in for whole spaces. And you can have many of these lattices marking space in the same painting at the same time. This painting is 2006. I love this painting especially because there's a kind of golden light throughout the painting. It's what I call the light on the hill behind our house. The summer afternoon orange light rakes through and just bathes the whole thing in a wonderful light. The ground is a sap green. You can look through it forever. So I have, in this case, five structures, 5 lattices superimposed, braided in their own space, in 5-dimensional space. These objects would slip over and under, like tying your shoes. They would bend and swing around, and but since it's been pressed into 3-dimensional space and pressed further into 2-dimensional space, we have these paradoxes of these lattices intersecting one another. It's by these paradoxes of intersection, paradoxical intersecting with one another, that you have the visual information to actually put it all together and see it in 4-dimensional space. You see the next slide, please. You know, as I said before, I think a lot of the same patterns, a lot in the same order, but a different color world. And these are kind of peak paintings. This one's 2007.
How big are these?
56 by 70. So they're arm's length. On the floor, they come up to your nose, and you spread your arms, and that you get the end of the painting. And it's enough to find yourself floating into it, covering, if you're close enough, covering your peripheral vision. It's a format that I started because it's a 7-inch grid, but I kept it because I was just used to it. Next slide, please. The last slide. This is 2019. It's a switch from acrylic to oil paint. The painting's much more about paint than the acrylic paints. I moved up here into my summer studio, which is now my 8-month studio, because I can use oil colors. Difficult in a loft. there's a slightly different image here. The linear structures are suppressed. They're there, and you can see them, but they're not so forward. And instead, it's more about the paint, more about the color, more about the color harmonies. You know, people age, brains age, vulnerable to illnesses, people die. I think these paintings have responded to a whole series of catastrophes that befell our family. And that's when I moved up here. That's when I started working in oil. And that's when the nature of these paintings started to be softer and I think more tender and more vulnerable. And that's what I've been doing lately. So those are all my prepared remarks. I'm happy to discuss these paintings with you, whatever you want to ask me about.
That was fabulous.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
This is beautiful, by the way, this
Yeah.
final painting and where you ended up, or where you are now, let's put it that way, with the brush strokes. And yeah, we can feel that with our senses and our emotions and our bodies. We can feel that tenderness that you described. I can.
Yeah.
I was almost getting this, Bonnard feel, on the arc, on the trajectory.
Yeah, I love Bonnard. Bonnard, it's funny, whenever the Museum of Modern Art has a Bonnard show, they have to stay open 24 hours. So many people want to see it. You go around in the to studios at the time, you see these tough, hard edge, son of a bitch painters. They have the Bonnard open on their palette. He's a totally appreciated artist. I mean, he's a much loved artist, but I think he's underappreciated. And
Picasso didn't appreciate him.
no, no, he thought he was wishy-washy.
Right.
But I wrote a nice piece on Bonnard and discovered how painful his life was. As he said, you don't always sing out of happiness.
Right.
Impressive guy. I'm still stuck on Impressionism and never going to grow out of it. I don't know if I said this, but my mother took me from Tehran to Europe for the first time. I'd never seen any Western painting, and she had a list. She wanted to see the Night Watch in Amsterdam. She wanted to see the Sistine Chapel in Rome. There was another one, two other ones, and then she wanted to see the Renoir of the little girl with the watering can, and that's the Jeu de Paume. And we went there, and then I saw the Monets all in a row, the cathedral, and kind of realized these were paintings of light and not objects. I was about 15, and it was like Saul and the road to Damascus. I was just smacked. And I came back to my room in Tehran. I bought some paints. I started dabbling and painting, and been painting in my room ever since.
I see the influence on Persian art in your paintings. I mean, the tessellation, you know, when was that? When was it in Iran? When were you in Tehran?
When was I in Tehran?
Yes, how old?
Let's see, 57 to 60, 61. It's a little mixed up because
Were you 6 years old or how old? 10 years old?
no, I was a teenager. I was
Yeah.
I was 12, 15, 16. I didn't go. I went back between my junior and senior year in high school. I went back to Iran. And we did some traveling as a family then. But my family was still there after I graduated high school and was going to go to college. I had a year and I didn't go home. I didn't go to back to Iran. I spent the summer on my own in Paris at an art school. And so that's how old I was.
Toni, I read a wonderful book called Paris in Ruins, and it makes the argument that that it isn't just light, but it relates to what you're talking about, that they were painting, having gone through the Franco-Prussian War and then the Bloody Week, they realized how much could be taken and how quickly it could be taken from you. And so they were painting transients, like how, and it's a good book. I really enjoyed it. Also, I have a limited understanding of history, which you seem to not lack. So maybe it wouldn't be as eye-opening for you, but I audiobooked it like 3 times in a row. It also talked about Berta Morisot and Manet being in love and then marrying her brother and all that stuff. Monet, sorry. Anyway, and how
in love, but probably not physical love.
no.
They had a deep respect for one another, and there was a kind of a conservative family. And the story that I like about Berta is in Manet's last summer, he was dying of syphilis, and he couldn't stand, and he couldn't really paint. But every day, Berta would bring him a nosegay of fresh cut flowers from the they lived in a family compound, it seemed. And every day he would paint these little bouquets. They are some of his greatest works because they seal a bargain and they pay a debt. Manet showed the Impressionists how to look, and they showed him how to paint. So in these last vase, there's no outline. Manet always painted with a black outline and filled in the colors. The outlines are gone. It's just paint representing light. So I think that's the way I feel about their relationship. But what you said about what you said about the transients is a new thought for me. I didn't think of it that way, but this was when photography was available, to everybody, and also Japanese prints were around, and with their very kooky sense of composition. So I think it all kind of came together.
And I think that to add to that, was technological developments, two of which are super important, which one was paint in tubes,
Yeah.
Oh,
which were portable. So you didn't have to be bound to the studio, and railroads.
Transportation.
So you could like leave Paris and go out to the country with your tubes of paint, and you could paint and come back to Paris the same day.
yeah. And you didn't have to be an aristocrat. You could be a
Right.
regular shop girl and have the
That's
day
right.
in the country.
Right.
Do you think transience feeds into your more recent paintings? Because of the losses that you've experienced in life and everything. That's also about light and transience, maybe.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, maybe.
Do you have any more of these that you could show us? Or could you move your camera around in your studio to show us some of
I could walk.
I love those.
I'm gonna stop the share. So you're bigger now. You're full screen.
Okay. So what I could try this. I don't have this on a cell phone where I can see what I'm showing, but I could show you what's on the walls now.
It's tricky because it gets in reverse sometimes and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, left, right, left, right.
Right, right.
Left, right. Who cares?
Nice.
So here's a painting with a kind of the last peak painting of the acrylic paintings with the super brainiac structures. Here's a painting that I've been working with on and off. Can you see the painting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now I'm having a little concern about the square in the middle there. And these two paintings are well, this one and the next one are paintings that were complete failures and slathered over and tried to say something. And this is a problem now I have this time of year with the too much light raking across this back wall. Here are paintings that are some are finished. I left out a whole section of how I choose color, which I could tell you about.
Please.
These are plotter drawings that are filled in with watercolor. While I was doing sculpture, I really couldn't concentrate on painting, but I did these, lots and lots of these, and they're popular. And here's a painting a few years ago, kind of in the middle of things. So
what I find fascinating is your mathematical approach, and then on the other hand, you have a very freedom. You know, you have your dancing trapezes and figures. I think it's a wonderful combination.
Well, thank you.
And it does also. I mean, you know. MC Escher, for instance, the metamorphosis things, they are beautiful, you know, and very interesting. And I like actually that you are so free, even you are so very clear about your concept.
Yeah, I'm
No,
highly,
and,
highly programmatic artist, but when it comes to color, this is what I meant to tell you, and I didn't. So I know that lower left-hand side of the painting is a disaster. It needs to be changed. The color needs to be changed. So I'm in the studio at 8 o'clock in the morning, and the painting is on the wall. And I can't bear to look at it, or I can peek at it, but I don't know what to do. And a lot of people sweep at this time, but I'm a follower of Joan Rivers, who said, and I'm paraphrasing here, you can sweep the studio, you can clean your brushes, you can scrape your palette, and then 6 months from now, you have to do it all over again. So I'm a neatnik, but if you look, it's dirty. And
I have
so
another question.
I'm sorry?
I have another question also for you.
Okay, let me
Because
finish
when I
this.
look at this last painting where you said you used oil, you know, it's also clear that apparently, you know, you don't, the lines are a little bit blurred or suddenly went somewhere else a little bit, maybe in the invisibility.
No, I have tools to make the lines perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
just,
saying, my question is, you create space, you know, in your paintings with this, with your method of 4 or 6 dimension and so on. And but I see also a connection almost with Bryce Marden, which, you know, with these line drawings, of course,
Bryce
he's not
Martin.
mathematical, but he creates also space with just these lines, for instance. What do you think about him?
I'm not a fan of Bryce Martin's work.
I don't see the connection either. And I
But
love.
let me finish. I was telling you about how I choose color. I wanted to finish that.
Okay.
So
I tell you one thing, that you do phenomenal geometrical drawing. It's mind blowing.
no, thank you. Thank you very much. So I'm in the studio and I'm not working on the painting, and I, uh, I check my email, I wait, pretty soon it's time for lunch. So I put the cat down, I get out of my chair, I've been daydreaming, I get up and I'm heading towards the door, and then it hits me, oh, I was supposed to paint that corner. And I was supposed to paint it yellow, but not real yellow. I was going to put purple in the yellow. And so you get that kind of greeny, browny, kind of icky, but it would be perfect. And I would paint the edges soft. So like Vermeer has a yellow thing, and it's way, way in the background because the edges are painted so softly. And so it really does seem to me that somebody else was inside making all these choices, or some other part of my brain, and that all I had to do was wait for instructions and then do what I was told. So with those clear instructions, and 15 minutes later, I've done, I've painted it, mixed the color, put it on, made sure the edges were the soft edges. The thing did not fly off the canvas. And then I'd go to lunch. So it's kind of a passive experience, choosing the colors, letting
Yeah,
letting your other brain do all the work. And
right.
keeping out of the way.
They
Barbara,
have,
we can't hear you.
Sorry, it's such a contrast, the two ways of working.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think color has its own geometry. And you can't explain it. You can't. You can explain the other part, the fourth dimension is an intellectual process. And the way you marry them together is just phenomenal.
Well, we don't have a lot of, we don't have a vocabulary for discussing color.
You
I,
don't need it.
when I was in Yale, the only good thing that happened when I was there was I was teaching assistant to the color course, and so I didn't really learn anything, but I learned they have a language that describes uh, what they think it is, and that was interesting.
How about Albers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Albers made the color course. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I mean, he
he
wrote
wasn't.
exhaustively and did all of his work is in some way about color.
Yes, and he invented this course, this color course. He wasn't there when I was there,
Okay.
but his
Huh.
first disciples were there. I learned from them. I was their teaching assistant. It's not that much, but it's all we have.
Well, I
Right.
went from Mansell to Itten, and I had a lot of trouble with Itten because it was all color theory based on light. And you know, if you mix paint and pigment
Right.
together the way you think you're going to mix light together, you're not going to get a good result. It's
And
No.
all
also Goethe wrote about color,
Yeah,
theory
had
of
a-
color,
he had a very thorough,
and different. He
Yeah.
categorized colors according to the amount of light that was in them, like a yellow was a
Mhm.
light pigment, a light color, and he organized his colors accordingly, rather than in the way we, organize them, like with the color wheel.
I'd
Yeah.
like to just say that your presentation was a privilege to watch.
Thank you.
And the retrospective that you gave us and the view into your thinking and your art at those particular times, I thought was extraordinary. And
Thank you.
I love where you ended up. And I think Hans said it, the softness with you still didn't lose the fourth dimension, the geometry, but you softened it. And I think it was even a better reflection of who you are as a person, seeing all these beautiful dimensions and how you put it, lyrical and wholesome. I think you nailed it.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I think you particularly nailed it in the last painting that you showed us and what you're doing now. I think it's really extraordinary. And the other thing that I loved about this presentation was this whole insight into cubism.
Mm.
With Picasso, I
Yeah.
never would have had that
Mhm.
insight. So I thank
This
you.
this is the art historian Linda Henderson. This is what she has been working on. That was her thesis, PhD thesis, and then on from there. And Linda and I know her, and we worked closely at one time, reading each other's papers before publication and things like that. But I just lost my train of thought.
Welcome to my world.
But she was the one who really has changed art history. Oh, and I was going to say, we both were champion a kind of art history that is context oriented. These artists don't make things in a vacuum. They do, of course, work through their tradition and what happened just before, affirming or criticizing.
Yes.
But also how people think about space. What's the legal definition of space? These things change and evolve, and they change, and they change what we think about things. And we too often we leave out the context that that details, the world we're living in and the world we're trying to grasp.
Can you
Well-
explain a little bit more something intriguing about your thing about saying about this time, the time thing, time? I mean, when I watch, when I look at the painting, it needs also time, just with my eye, to go from that thing to that thing or whatever. So time plays a role, but you are saying time never talk about time. Or what was your thing? I like that.
Yeah, let me put it this way: the most common application of four-dimensional geometry is with time. And it wasn't Einstein. You can read Einstein's paper. It's all about if this speed of light is going to be constant in all inertial frames of reference, then clocks have to run slow and measuring rods have to shrink. It's all words. It was Hermann Minkowski, who was Einstein's math teacher, and always thought Einstein was a little bit, dim.
Really? Wow.
Who said, "We have on the shelf," I just pulled down the volume, "already a fully worked out geometry of four spatial dimensions that we can plug into. We can plug Einstein's issues into this geometry and get a clear resolution. All you have to do is change one little plus to a minus, and the whole thing fits perfectly." So I try to get people to understand that it's the geometry. It's not the application. Geometry is, prior to and independent any of its possible applications. You have to see the geometry. And if you want to do space-time physics, then you have to do, then time is your fourth dimension. But I don't think that's really, I don't think that's in my paintings. It's true. You look at the paintings, you get one gestalt, and then you get another one, and then you get another one, and you see the different spaces that are there sequentially. But the goal is to try to see them simultaneously, to really feel you're in the
That's where I
spaces.
think you succeed.
I agree, Phyllis.
Yes. You do see them as a whole. That's what became the most fascinating part of those.
Hmm.
First you see the parts, and then you see the whole, and there's a magic about the whole. Something you can't, even when you're doing higher mathematics, you get into a space that's really undefinable. And I think that's what you did in the paintings.
Thank you. That's
I agree.
that's a accurate praise.
Oh, I really feel it. I
Well,
appreciate you
you
coming.
you haven't seen the paintings. You've only seen pictures of the paintings.
See?
Where can we actually look at one of your paintings?
I don't know. I haven't had a show in well, the last show I had was just such a disaster. I don't.
Are there any
The
paintings
show itself wasn't a
in permanent
disaster. The show itself
collection
was beautiful.
anywhere?
Well, let me think. There are not many. Where's a good one? One's going to France, of an early painting.
Any a little closer?
I'm trying to think. The Whitney has a drawing, but it's very early and doesn't
Yeah.
Wow.
doesn't represent me. There are paintings in museums in Florida. Orlando Museum has a wonderful. They have actually a couple of really, really great paintings. There's going to be an exhibition of the P&D artists in Hanover, New Hampshire, in November.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and there's some of my paintings are, I don't know how many they'll put up, but it's the Roth collection, Norma Roth's collection. And it was shown in Florida in a couple of venues, and that show is being brought up to Hanover at the Currier Museum. Currier Knives,
All
Currier
right. Yeah,
Museum.
yeah.
And it opens in November, and some of my paintings will be
Great.
there. And there were paintings in Texas, but I don't know what happened.
About South Florida.
In Florida?
South Florida.
Yeah. The Orlando Museum. Yeah, it has.
That's one I was thinking was south. That's
No,
quite-
the paintings were shown in the South, but they were not owned by those museums.
I'd like to say something, but I'm a little hesitant because this might be wrong, but when I'm looking at your paintings, there's something about them that looks like surreal to me.
Looks like what?
Like surreal,
Oh, surrealism.
yeah, surrealism.
Why, Marie? In what
When
way?
I'm looking at, can you see the frame where, look at Toni and you see the painting in the left side? It
Yeah.
looks like a lot
Oh,
of those images are floating and kind of, you know how surrealists bent a lot of the shapes, and there's something that
Okay.
reminds me a little bit of that until I look in the background and see all the geometry.
Mm.
The shapes themselves, when I'm looking at them.
Yeah, okay, I'm a little busted. I was a big fan of Gorky,
Okay.
okay.
and Gorky's objects floating in this
Mm-hmm.
amorphic space. Maybe there's some of that leaking in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really effective and very beautiful. And so like
Thank
what
you.
Phyllis was saying, your work really, your work works on many different levels. And in this class, we often kind of wonder how you get into a painting. You know, what's the way artists start paintings?
Yeah.
And I think that it was fascinating to hear that geometry is kind of your way in. And that's why I love where you are now, because it's softened, but you still kept that way in. But I think it's intriguing and I love the work.
Thank you very much. It's very kind.
On some of your paintings, there feels like there's almost a reference to landscape or aerial views of the earth. And that's probably because I always try to make something literal or narrative out of painting. It's just the way my brain works. Do you avoid that for the new backgrounds that you have that are painterly and multicolored? Or are you allowing it to be whatever it wants to be, or how does that work?
Well, lately there have been a lot of horizon lines in my painting. And I'm not sure how it got started, but I think it helps maybe to have a sense of an expansive space if you have a horizon line, especially lower in the painting, and then you have like the water in front, and then the bank and the horizon line, and then the big sky. These are subliminal associations if they're abstract enough. But I'm not doing that now.
Alan and I just read this book that I got to recommend called Orbital. And it's most of it is just describing what the astronauts see from the International Space Station looking down on Earth. And it's so beautiful, lyrical. And there is a plot there. A Japanese astronaut, her mother dies while she's there, and she can't go back for the bone sifting ceremony. And there are things that happen, but oh my God, yeah. I look at your work and I think of everything I love about that book, which again, I listened to multiple times, and Alan went out and bought. It's staggeringly beautiful.
Oh. Spell the name of the book.
Orbital, Orbital.
Oh, Orbital. Yeah.
I'll just send you that book. I love that book, Toni. You got to have it.
I'm so struck by the change from the earlier work that you showed to the last the more recent paintings, including the geometry. There's a kind of severity in the earlier, a very structured severity in your earlier geometry. And the latest, I'm looking, I took a photo off the screen so I wouldn't, anyway. The latest painting that you showed us through your presentation, not the ones in your studio, but these geometric forms, yes, they're floating. They're floating in this, what is the word? This sea of color. It's just very, very gorgeous. I was going to ask you if you were feeling like there was going to be a contrast, a pull between the two methods. And then I looked at this painting and I see that, no, there's just such a beautiful integration.
Yeah, all this geometric structure is there. It's just suppressed. I made only recently a public record of my paintings on Instagram.
Oh,
it's at Toni Robbin Art. And then I went from the recent to the first. And so now you read it from the first to the last. And then I went back and I annotated every painting. There are 140 paintings. So not everything, not every different kind of thing, but most everything and most of the paintings. Not all the paintings, of course, but a lot of paintings. And you can see the development step by step there because they're chronological.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Well, this painting really betrays your love of color and of light. And the influence of Impressionism. But
Yes.
I really love this painting
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I love that too.
because I find the colors in this, just fascinating.
Yeah.
Like figuring these colors out, and I mean, experiencing these colors and how subtle they are and strange and nuanced and in the end, beautiful. And I think this is a gorgeous painting.
Thank you. I do too. I think it's one of the best things I've ever done. And I have shown it,
Yeah.
but it's never been really offered for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of things that I don't want to give up yet.
Yeah, sure.
I love
The
it too.
blues,
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
the lapis, the lapis blue and the violets are just wild.
Mark,
Richness
can
of
you
color.
zoom in on it?
Sure.
I think what's also
Yeah.
something a little unusual almost, some shadows.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah,
shadows
as well.
going
That's right.
on, which is very,
Yeah, Hans.
yeah,
True.
very
Yeah, I love this
It's more
shadow here.
dimension.
nice
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah. I agree, Mark. I think this is beautiful too.
Yeah.
I feel
love
like
it.
I would
rich.
love to walk into this,
Right.
into this
Exactly.
space and kind of experience that whole
yeah.
that whole feeling of getting lost in all these dimensions.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Like walking into a nightclub.
I don't.
Nice.
I see it more like something happening in deep space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like so many dimensions of,
Yeah, yeah.
but
I love this passage
triangle.
in here.
I do too. I love that.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
triangle, this green triangle is also great.
Yeah.
Flat. Yeah, everything is wonderful.
And I like the way the planes become so I don't know what the word is, flattened in this kind of extreme perspective. I love how those planes become what's the word? I don't know. Foreshortened. Yeah, interesting.
I agree. I think this painting is super interesting. And then the last painting for me has a lot more feeling to it.
Yeah.
There's, and I was, when you had shown that, I was like, oh my gosh, some of those figures in the last painting look like origami.
Yeah. There's a kind of
It's
fly.
like a Japanese origami kind of,
Yeah.
which was interesting to hear your experience in Japan.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I really appreciated your enthusiasm for my work. It's, we live in the studio and
Right. That's right.
only the cat and our best friend comes in.
Right.
It's nice to have an audience that talks back.
Yes.
We're honored
Thank
that you
you.
came.
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank you so
always welcome to come back. And
Thank
we
you so
love
much.
yeah, Linda.
Yeah.
as
Thanks,
well.
Tony.
I'll see you. I'm gonna leave and press this
Okay.
button. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay, we say also goodbye to our audience then.
Yes.
Bye, audience.
So I'm going to
Bye-bye.
Stop the recording.
oh, here. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording. Stop recording.